Over the past week, Riot's been pushing some changes onto the PvE, so let's take a sneak peek at what's coming up. Smash that like button, destroy the sub button, and let's jump right into the patch 10.6 preview. Riot is once again taking a swing at what champions can and cannot jungle, and there's several changes here that are going to change some serious dynamics across the game. Brand, for example, his passive now does 120% damage instead of the normal damage that it would deal against monsters. But the catch is that there's now a maximum of 80 damage per second. Talk about a roller coaster of a sentence. Brand was looking real nice in the jungle and overall, but then it immediately just got completely demolished into the floor. Hopefully Riot realizes that this is seriously going to impact the champion in other roles other than jungle, because support Brand being able to really speed up a dragon clear in the early game was super awesome, but now if it doesn't work that way, it's really gonna suck. So good luck to all the Brand mains out there. Hopefully Riot doesn't completely destroy your champion. Riot is also looking at forcing Morgana, or, well, force is a strong word, allowing Morgana to go into the jungle. But her W dealing 150% damage to monsters is a lot. And when you combine that with the fact that Morgana support is one of the worst performing champions in the game, well, you might see some Morgana jungles in your game. And to be fair, her ganks aren't even that bad. She's got CC, a way to protect her allies, a way to ignore CC incoming at her that could prevent her gank. Honestly, seems like it's gonna be pretty good. Naturally, a lot's gonna change about the champion if she is viable in the jungle. Obviously, you're gonna have a different build, probably different runes, probably even a different skill max order. And so if you need information like that, you should go check out our website, GameLeap.com. More on that later though. The next champion that Riot's trying to shoehorn into being one of the Bush Boys is Teemo, and they're doing this by making Teemo's blind last twice as long against monsters, which makes it really long, 3 seconds at rank 1. That's a long time. That's like at least 3 auto attacks to block from a camp. And keep in mind that the cooldown is 8 seconds, so every 8 seconds you blind a monster for 3 seconds, you can easily do it 2, maybe even 3 times on a given camp in the early game. And if the blind increasing his health over his clear wasn't good enough, they're also upping the damage that his E does with its passive poison against monsters. It now does 150% of its normal damage against monsters. So we're looking at a faster and a healthier clear? Manko, where you at, man? Teemo jungle's now viable. The man's gonna be challenger rank 1. Alright, there's 2 more champs joining the Bush Boys. First up is Yorick. Now, large monsters will always leave a grave for his passive so that he can summon his little ghoulies. After that as well, ghouls now take less damage from monsters, 50% left, so they can effectively tank camps for way longer and make Yorick way healthier. Might seem like a small change, but the fact that he can get his ghouls more often, and the fact that he's going to be healthier in his clear while still clearing quickly and having okay ganks means he's going to be fine, I think. The last of the new recruits to the Bush Boys is Zyra, and I guess she's already a plant, so like she already was one? Either way, now Zyra's plants deal extra damage to monsters. 150% extra damage to be exact, which is a huge amount. There is no cap to the amount of damage that these plants can deal, and considering that they're already strong in the early game and are really good at leashing camps and doing them even on her own, this is going to be really strong, and Zyra's going to be the leader out of the pack of these jungle buffs. Now, before we get into all the champion changes, let's talk about some of the miscellaneous stuff that's going on. First of all, teleport is getting a buff/nerf. It's buffed in the late game, but a bit weaker early on. What happens is that now the cooldown scales with your champion level. So instead of it being a 6-minute cooldown, it's now 480 seconds down to 240 seconds, making it 8 to 4 minutes depending on your champion level. That is a large difference. 2 full minutes early on and 2 full minutes later in the game. Granted, you're never really going to be at these points because, I mean, who's teleporting at level 1, right? It's not going to be a full 2-minute cooldown, but still, even if it's 30 seconds longer or a minute longer, that's a big difference. A nice bright side to look at is the fact that people who take teleport on your team and are also feeding won't be able to feed as hard because teleport's cooldown is going to be longer and they're not going to be able to int as much. Alright, and let's not forget to mention that teleport now has 3 seconds of bonus movement speed after you arrive from the TP, and it scales based on your level, from 30 to 45%. Keep in mind, that's like Ghost, the literal summoner spell Ghost, for 3 seconds. Insanely powerful. Riot has also brought back the death stance changes they were looking at, where now it gives you attack damage, cooldown reduction, armor, and MR all at the same time. This is going to be an incredibly powerful item on literally every champion that already buys it, and makes it even more of a juicy option for AD carries. They seem to be playing around with some numbers and nerfing it for ranged champions because they know that it's going to be really powerful. What they're doing is it looks like they're trying to impact just how much damage they can stagger. 30% of your melee or 20% of your range seems to be the effect that they're going to go with, but that could change in the next few days. The last sort of miscellaneous change is that they're trying to nerf funnel even more than it already is. Not only are champions with the jungle items going to be nerfed in how much gold they get from minions, but they're also losing minion experience by 50%. Hopefully this fully kills the funnel strategy, as it's really irritating and really only the best of the best players would be able to beat it, because it's just too strong at face value for a team of uncoordinated single players to overcome. There's a reason why it's the premier boosting strategy. Until you get to the point where you're facing like Grandmaster and Challenger players, they're just not going to be able to overcome it. There's a lot of important strategy and timings that you need to meet to be able to combat something like that. And to find more info about strategies like that where you're trying to combat, say, a specific thing like funnel, or you're trying to win the game as easily and as best as you can, you should go check out our website, GameLeap.com. Not only do we have champion guides, but we also have macro guides, and even guides all the way down to lane-specific tips like wave manipulation and other things. No matter what rank you are or what your end goal is, there is definitely something up there for you. And if there isn't already, and I'm lying to you right now, don't worry, because we're always making more and better content for you guys. Whether it be champion guides, more macro guides, or whatever, we're always trying to give you guys the best edge that we possibly can. And so if there's something really important that you think we should have a video covering and we don't already, let us know in the comments. We're always looking for new things to tackle so that you guys get exactly what you need and are looking for. Alright, now let's hop into all these champion changes, because there's quite a bit going on here. First up, let's talk about Senna, where now her passive AD per soul is getting lowered, and the soul cooldown on champions is getting changed so that it is a higher cooldown at early levels. Not only is the speed at which she can get the souls slower, but now each individual soul also means less. It's like, going to the deli and ordering a sandwich, and, last time the guy gave it to you in like 5 minutes with like 10 pieces of salami, and then he gives you one with like 4 and it takes 10 minutes. Bad memories. Anyways, moving on. Aphelios is getting nerfed once again because as people get more and more proficient with the champion, they realize, holy crap, this guy is absolutely shattered in every possible way. So while every time in the past, it seems like Riot is just absolutely knocking the wind out of Aphelios every single time he gets back up swinging. So right now, they're looking at nerfing his Severum lifesteal. They're also further reducing the amount of damage that Infernum does to minions and nerfing the midi chakram damage bonuses. So he now pushes slower, he'll have less burst and damage in an extended fight with his chakram, and won't be able to lifesteal as insanely much in the early game. When it comes to late game, the lifesteal nerf isn't going to matter that much, and the Infernum damage to minions definitely will, as will the mini chakram damage. Moving on to Garen nerfs. Yes, Garen nerfs. His magic resist per level is going down, so he won't scale as easily against, other scaling mages that might try to counter him, like say picking Cassiopeia into a Garen will work not as poorly now. And his E-crit scaling goes down so that it doesn't benefit him as much. It's only 33% increased damage rather than 50%. All in all, that's definitely going to take Garen down a peg when it comes to his late game scaling, both against AP champions and just by how much damage that he can deal overall. Usually you don't get any crit until your second item, or sometimes even your third item, and at that point it's gonna look like Bruiser Garen probably will end up being better than this sort of full damage Garen where you go Triforce Phantom Dancer than we've seen lately. The absolute one-man army of Darius is also getting nerfed. He's getting nerfs to his W mana cost, how much damage it does, and his E mana cost. So overall, he's gonna be more mana hungry, which means he won't be able to get as many Qs or Ws or Es out in a given fight, and he's also just gonna hit a little bit less harder. Will he no longer be one of the best top laners in the game right now? Probably not from these changes, but will it make him less drastically better? Yes. Looks like Riot actually took a step in the right direction without completely destroying a champion again. Well done. Last on the nerf train is going to be Shaco, where his R clone damage, specifically the auto attack damage, not the total damage from its explosion, is going down. So every auto attack from the clone is going to mean less. And that just kind of sucks because AD Shaco wasn't better than AP Shaco right now, which is super weird. I don't really understand why Riot's nerfing this, and it just doesn't make any sense. We'll have to see what they do, but it just doesn't seem really like it has a reason, and it's really random. All right, let's talk about buffs now. First of all, Soraka, her healing from her Q is going up a little bit, and her Q movement speed bonus is also going up. Watch out, because she might be coming back to viability in the top lane. I'm really not sure why they're making this change, because I feel like there's so many other things that Riot could be doing to make Soraka a better champion without buffing things that also buff her in the solo lane. Moving on to Anivia, she's getting a very important buff where now her R kill duration, the thing that allows her E to do double damage, is going up by a second to 3 seconds, which matches her Q. This is really important because it means the slow lasts longer and the period with which he can do double damage is longer. Big change here, might not seem like it, but Anivia players who know what they're doing are gonna feel it 100%. Urgot is also getting a small but meaningful buff where now his Q slow duration is up by 1/4 of a second, so not very much, but it is the difference between catching up to somebody and not, because his E stun duration is going up by 1/4 second as well. So this makes it easier for Urgot to transition onto somebody with a Q into an E. And I mean, of course, at the end of the day, you just got more CC, so why not? Kayn is also once again getting buffed, and his passive orb rate gain is increased again. Be careful, because we might be seeing Kayn's transforming at like 4, 5, maybe even 6 minutes, and that's gonna be crazy. Imagine going up against a Shadow Assassin Kayn or a Rost Kayn at that time in the game. Crazy, dude. Kindred is also getting some love, or more specifically Lamb, because nobody really ever cares about Wolf, and her AD per level is going up, her W healing is going up, and her R healing is going up at later ranks. Overall, better sustain, better ability to escape bad fights with her R, and more damage? Sure, why not? Kindred hasn't been doing too hot lately, and this could help her, as having a healthier clear and just doing a little bit more damage overall could be the difference. Alright, we just got a couple more to go. Gotta power through them all, racing through with Hecarim. His R fear duration is getting higher based on the distance traveled, up to 2 seconds now. That's pretty strong. Fear is a very powerful CC that forces people to move, so watch out, as he might force you into like a Shaco box or another CC because you're CC'd for longer than you might expect. Moving on to Xerath, his W sweet spot damage amp, that is, the small center radius, is going up by 16.7%. Just really a 33% increase from the 50% that it was. After that, the R damage is also going up at later ranks, and the AP ratio is slightly higher, just ever so tiny, 2% extra per 100 AP. As far as the Xerath changes are concerned, don't really expect anything magical to happen. It's not gonna all of a sudden make him one of the best champions in the game, but it definitely will help. Moving on to the tiny master of evil that is Veigar, and yes, I know it's Veigar now, thanks to you guys pointing it out, but I know that it's too late, as I've been saying it for 8 years, and I will continue in my amazing mistake of calling him Veigar. His Q damage goes up by 10. That's it. That's the change. Whatever. Nobody cares. Actually, wait, no, I take that back. I definitely care, because this is just dumb. Why are we buffing Veigar's Q damage by 10 when his win rate across all ranks is just fine in the mid lane, and then when you play him in the higher elos, it's kind of bad but not awful, but then the key is to play him in the bottom lane where his win rate is insanely large. I don't know what the heck Riot is doing. They gotta be figuring something out other than a 10 damage Q buff, because that's not magically gonna take Veigar out of the bot lane and into the mid lane in a good position. Jumping on to Draven, everybody got a hype when they said Draven buffs were coming out, and then everybody got immediately unhyped when they read the fact that they are simply buffing his W movement speed by 10% at all ranks. Wow. Cool, guys. It's definitely not going to help him in the current meta against all these tanks that are running Draven down. Remember, guys, be careful when the full Assassin Ornn reaches your backline. Remember earlier when we talked about those Morgana jungle buffs? Well, guess what? She's not just getting jungle buffs. Her E shield at rank 1 is getting a higher shield value, 80 instead of 60, which is a big deal. Every point of that matters, as every point means that you might be able to block an extra CC. Not only that, but she's also getting a movement speed buff. 5 MS might not seem like a lot, but remember, she does have a movement speed buff in her kit, and her ulti directly relies on staying close to people. That's a big deal. For all of you Twisted Fate fans out there, he is also getting a very substantial buff where now his blue card AP ratio is way higher and his red card AP ratio is a bit higher, meaning that he's going to do more damage when he's trying to wave clear or sustain or just trade for raw damage. And then the very last change is going to be coming to Rise, where his mana regen is going up and his W damage is going up at later ranks. Not a huge change, probably isn't going to have too much impact considering that it's only going up by 40 damage at later ranks. We'll have to see what happens, but Rise has historically been a poor performer to say the least. That wraps up everything that Riot has for us to take a look at for our 10.6 preview. But wait, there's actually one other thing. We went over it before because Riot had started testing this quite a while ago, but now they're finally getting ready to release the Wukong rework, and all of the changes that were there before are still present. There are some minor tweaks, but nothing has really changed to the kit. Expect to see him on the Rift come 10.6. Sometimes though, life happens, and the Rioter who was working on Wukong and did the whole kit rework and was bug fixing got jury duty, and so they might not be able to release him on 10.6. but definitely 10.7, the Monkey Man is going to be chimping out on entire enemy teams. And if you have chimps on your team that you just can't seem to carry, make sure you go check out our website, GameLeap.com. We have tons of guides, champion guides, macro guides, micro guides, lane guides, everything that you need to know is up there. And if for some reason I happen to be lying, and you figure out a topic that's important that we don't have a video on, let us know. We are always trying to make more and better content for you guys with our challenger level content creators. Our goal is to give you guys the best edge that we possibly can to help you improve and win your games. So seriously, check it out if that's your goal. If you made it this far, thanks for watching the whole video. What do you think about the new upcoming patch? We've still got a couple days left, but things are looking spicy already. I'm really hoping that Wukong rework comes out because that's looking mighty fun. Anyways, as always, my name is Ace Windstorm, and I will see you all later.